A Fotillo-Tone monster, built with massive steel and a roaring diesel engine. But on a -30-degree night, none of that raw power matters. Your life depends on a tiny metal box under your seat. It is the size of a shoebox. If it stops for just 5 minutes, this massive truck becomes a metal coffin. How do drivers sleep in these frozen hills without freezing to death? The answer is not what you think. The warm trap and the avalanche effect. Most people think the solution is simple. Just keep the engine running all night. Turn the heater to maximum easy right-wrong. First, it is incredibly expensive. An idling heavy engine burns up to 4 liters of diesel every hour. That is thousands of dollars wasted every single winter. Worse, idling is strictly illegal in many states. If you park and idle, heavy fines await, so you turn off the key silence now. Physics takes over. The thin cabin walls cannot hold heat. Your own breath turns against you. Moisture rises, hits the glass, and freezes. Within hours, your windshield is coated in thick ice. The trap is set. The blood lesson in the winter night. Some drivers try to cheat the system. They keep the engine running anyway, hiding in the dark. That is when the silent killer arrives: carbon monoxide. If heavy snow blocks the exhaust pipe, this odorless gas backs up. It slips inside the cabin through tiny cracks. You do not wake up. You just drift from sleep into death. This tragedy forced engineers to think differently. They built the APU, an auxiliary power unit. It is a tiny, separate diesel engine mounted on the truck frame. It supplies heat and power without idling the main engine. But even mechanical systems fail on the coldest nights. What then? The battle of the shoebox and the gravity of money. Enter Europe's favorite weapon: the parking heater. It is basically a highly computerized pocket stove. Instead of heating the entire 40-ton truck, it burns a tiny trickle of fuel in a sealed chamber. The hot air is blown straight into the cabin. It uses just 0.2 liters of fuel per hour. Compared to idling, it saves 90% of your fuel. This small device pays for itself in one winter. For truck drivers, this is not just about comfort. It is about financial survival when fuel prices spike. Wasting diesel is like burning money. But this lifesaver has a hidden weakness. When diesel turns into fossil, that weakness is the fuel itself. Diesel is not just a liquid. It contains wax. At -15 degrees, a strange chemical reaction begins. The wax crystallizes. The liquid thickens into a jelly-like sludge. It cannot flow. Suddenly, the fuel lines clog. Your tiny parking heater starves. The fire goes out. Within minutes, the cabin temperature plummets. You are left alone in the dark, at -30 degrees. This is why veteran drivers use winter-grade diesel or chemical anti-gel additives. A tiny drop of chemistry is all that stands between a peaceful sleep and a freezing emergency. The survival ecosystem on wheels. Technology alone is never enough. Survival requires a complete ecosystem. Experienced drivers do not just rely on heaters. They preheat the cabin to extreme temperatures before sleeping. They use heavy sleeping bags rated for Arctic conditions. They wear thermal layers and beanies. It is a precise dance between machine, physics, and human habit. So how do they survive? Not by fighting the cold with brute force. They do it with clever engineering and strict discipline. Next time you see a massive truck parked on a frozen highway, remember the silent high-tech battle happening inside.